Good morning, everyone. Dr. Nicola Ducharme here. In this video, I want to talk to you a little bit more about three underlying causes of cellular aging and cellular degeneration and how we can help to minimize cellular aging and cellular degeneration. The first thing I want to say, though, is when I talk about this, it's so much more than sort of anti-aging. There's a lot of talk about anti-aging, and I just want to make really clear that I'm not just talking about preventing wrinkles or looking 40 when you're 60 or, anti-aging is so much more than that. And I feel like the term is a little bit misleading because it just sort of has that slight air of, I just want to look good. I want to stay young. I want to look good. But listen, aging is cellular degeneration. And cellular degeneration, honestly, can happen at any age. So in terms of optimizing your health, you want to reduce cellular damage and cellular degeneration as much as possible. Now, where it comes into the aging debate is that for sure, cellular degeneration leads to sort of signs of aging. It's like wear and tear on the cells. It's wear and tear on the body. And after a while, over time, the cells can be damaged. The cells can die. It's, that's how aging occurs. But at any age, we experience this, cellular insults, if you will, through chronic infections, through toxicity. If we look at our food supply today, especially, well, not necessarily especially here in the US, but I mean, I'm thinking about people who are so gluten intolerant here in the US, but they go to Europe and can eat wheat without a problem. Our food is so genetically modified. It is so full of glyphosate and other toxins. It's really quite, scary. But then beyond that, we have air pollution. We have pollution coming through even potentially the water that we're in contact with, through skincare products or even home cleaning products if we're not careful. I mean, it's everywhere. Heavy metals, mold toxicity, and then chronic infections such as Lyme disease and things which, is primarily what I work with. It really can take a toll. So we really want to look at these three underlying factors, not just from a standpoint of like, oh, I'm going to look great when I'm 60 kind of thing. But this is how I want to optimize my body's health. And that may be you at age 25 if you're struggling with one of these sort of more chronic health conditions. So don't think of it as just something that, us older gals are aiming for, to look young and stay young. Think of it as how to keep your cells in the best shape possible so that you get the best function out of your own body. Okay, so that being said, there are three things I want to talk about here that are real sort of underpinnings of chronic health issues and of cellular degeneration and aging. This one is oxidative stress. Oxidative stress, I want to give it to you in really simple terms. Think of it like you cut an apple open and you come back an hour or two later and the apple's sort of brown. It's oxidized. And that happens within our body too. We have oxidative stress happening in all of our cells. Now, to be clear, that's a normal and natural function, because even as we sort of live our daily life, as we metabolize, as we digest food, we create free radicals by doing that. And then we also get free radicals coming from the environment, right? Coming through toxicities and inflammation and other things. So these free radicals are the cause of oxidative stress in all the cells. And oxidative stress has been linked with a myriad of health conditions. There's very few things that hasn't been linked with. I mean, everything from Alzheimer's to autism to chronic fatigue to, just many, many, many different issues. So when we're looking at oxidative stress and these free radicals, how do we quench the free radicals? Well, we can do it a couple of different ways. one of the things is to get antioxidants through our diet. Okay, so antioxidants are things that can help to squish free radicals. Okay, they help to quench the free radical production. And so if we eat a diet that's, full of fruits and vegetables and healthy unprocessed food, we will be giving ourselves some of those antioxidants, which is great. We want to be doing that. That's important. The second thing some people do, and not incorrectly, but some people will supplement with the antioxidant rich nutrients like vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. There are antioxidant supplements that one can take. But really, you'll find what you're doing in that situation is kind of trying to match an antioxidant with a free radical and kind of keeping up with the demand for antioxidants. And it's a tricky game because you're really just going one for one of antioxidants to free radicals if you're doing it that way. My opinion is the best way to do it is to switch on your own body's production, like at a cellular level, at a genetic level, so that your body is creating a flood of antioxidants that can manage this oxidative stress. And the way we know to do that is through what's called Nrf2 activation or Nrf2 activation. Now, the Nrf2 activator, or it's actually the product is called Nrf2 Synergizer, helps to counter oxidative stress by switching on our own production of antioxidants. So we're not just trying to take as many in supplement form as we need, but it's also, like turning it on at the source. So I liken it to, if you walk into a room with a candle and you're looking for things, like, right, you're trying to find things in the room, you're trying to maybe get dressed or get organized, ready to go to work or get ready for bed, and you've got a candle, you've got to go over here and look at this corner. And then you bring your candle over here and you sort of look in this drawer for what you need. And then you take your candle over here and, pick up your purse or your bag or whatever you need to pick up. You've got to do it all individually, go spot to spot. Whereas, wouldn't you rather just go into the room and turn on the light switch? And then, ta-da, you can see the whole room. You've got access to whatever you want. It's just sort of inherently much more efficient. And so that's what it is with Nrf2 activation. It's a much more efficient way, and it's very natural and very synergistic with the body. So the Nrf2 is a combination of 5 different herbs. And like I said, it's 100% natural, and the dose of Nrf2 is just 1 tablet a day. So it's not a huge burden of stuff to take. But the research shows that the Nrf2 increases production of glutathione dramatically, which you guys all know by now how much I love my glutathione. And it reduces oxidative stress by up to like 40% in 30 days and up to 70% in 60 days. So there's no easier and more efficient way to deal with oxidative stress and free radical damage in your body. And I've seen incredible results with Nrf2, sometimes as quickly as within a few days. Obviously, people who have been on the planet longer and have more oxidative stress, it's going to take longer. We sort of think of it as a month for every decade you've been alive, in terms of, balancing this out. So it's not like a quick fix, but it is a brilliant way to reduce oxidative stress over time and keep your cells kind of functioning in a more healthy way. Number 2 on the list is mitochondrial dysfunction. Okay, so number 1 on the list was oxidative stress. Number 2 is mitochondrial dysfunction. And again, mitochondrial dysfunction, if you look at the research, has been implicated in a plethora of health issues. Again, everything from autism, Alzheimer's, chronic fatigue, so many different things. And it's really, really important that we address mitochondrial dysfunction. Now, the mitochondria are the little energy production units within our cells. Okay, they're the little powerhouses that put out ATP. And ATP is our energy currency. Okay, so when we talk about money currency, we're using dollars, or wherever you are in the world, pounds, or whatever your currency is. The individual unit is a dollar or a cent, or you know what I'm saying. So when we're talking about currency in money terms, we break it down to individual units. And same goes for energy within our cell. Like ATP is our energy currency. Okay, so adenosine triphosphate, it may not be a term that you're really familiar with, but just know that when we're talking about energy production, what we're talking about is production of ATP. Okay, it's like if you're earning money, you're producing dollars. If you're creating energy, you're producing ATP. Every function in the body requires ATP, right? The engine needs its fuel. So one of the things, people say, oh no, my energy's good. I'm okay, my energy's good. I'm not fatigued. I mean, obviously a lack of ATP is going to contribute to fatigue. However, if you bear in mind that every biochemical reaction in the body requires energy, and it also requires cofactors like magnesium and B vitamins and things like that. You need to put gas in the car, you need to put oil in the car, you need to put water in the car, you need a battery in the car, you need a bunch of things to get it going. But ATP is like the gas in the tank, the petrol, right? So if you don't have any petrol in the tank, nothing's going to happen. So that's what it is in our cells too. And if our mitochondria get worn out or get damaged, which again can happen in many different health conditions like poor nutrition, toxicity, chronic infection, chronic inflammation. If those mitochondria are compromised, it's going to compromise every function in the body. Okay, so I just wanted to stress that it's not just about the energy you feel. You can feel good, but you can still have oxidative stress and you can still have mitochondrial dysfunction going on in your body. So the solution for the mitochondrial dysfunction is what we call an Nrf2 Synergizer. And that is more micronutrients, meaning like coenzyme Q10 and things like that, more micronutrients rather than herbs, which the Nrf2 is more herbal. So it's very well tolerated. It's very natural. There's nothing artificial in there. And it's just a really easy way to start repairing those mitochondria. And again, full dose of that one is 2 capsules a day. So mitochondria don't, just pick up and heal overnight. I always tell people, you didn't get to this place in 5 minutes. When you're struggling with chronic illness or even, kids on the spectrum or whatever the case may be, it's generally not an overnight thing, right? Cellular damage happens over time. Cellular repair will also happen over time. So we're not looking for a quick fix or an overnight solution. We're looking for how is this going to work for the long haul? For me, and by the grace of God, I enjoy really good health, but I'm not immune to like heavy metal toxins and all of that. I'll tell you that story another day. But I take these things every day because I want to focus on prevention, okay? I know that these issues, these underlying issues are causes of long-term health issues, chronic degenerative health conditions. And for me, I don't want that. So even though I feel good, I am well, I have good energy. And I'm very, very blessed and very grateful for that on a daily basis. But I'm also very mindful of like, okay, I want to stay feeling good for a long time. And so these are really formative parts of my regimen as well. So the Nrf2 is for mitochondrial repair. And then the third kind of theory of aging, and this one's kind of interesting to me because, you hear a lot these days about keto diets and intermittent fasting. And I want to talk to you a little bit about sirtuins and about NAD. Now, you may have heard of NAD. That's been sort of talked about for a while. But just to give you a little bit of background on sirtuins. So the research shows that the only truly proven way to prolong lifespan is fasting. And they've done these studies in mice, poor little mice, but they have found that fasting prolongs lifespan. And it's because of this production of sirtuins. Okay, now sirtuins have a number of different roles within the cell, and certainly sort of anti-aging and preventing degeneration is one of them. But sirtuins are also closely linked with NAD. Okay, so if we have deficiencies of NAD, and also I'm not going to go into this, but there's NAD and there's NADH, and they're kind of like, you know, flip-flops of one another. So you also want the right proportion of NAD to NADH. I don't want to get too biochemical with that, and I'd get lost in the science pretty quickly too, but that's all you need to know. So these sirtuins can create healthier cells and can promote or prolong the lifespan of mammals. And like I said, traditionally, over time, humans have got sirtuins or boosted sirtuin production through fasting. And so that's part of now this sort of intermittent fasting, I don't want to say craze, that's not fair, but this sort of popular practice these days of intermittent fasting. It's working on the premise of boosting sirtuins, increasing NAD, and therefore, you know, creating cellular health and a longer lifespan. There is also another way to boost that NAD production and to enhance sirtuins, and that is the NAD Synergizer. So this is like the third in the trio. We've got the Nrf2, which I talked about first, counterintuitively, but it was the first one that came along. The Nrf1 for the mitochondrial dysfunction, and then the NAD Synergizer. And this is not supplemental NAD. NAD is quite difficult to take as a supplement. It's kind of like glutathione. If you just take a regular glutathione off the shelf, you're not necessarily, you know, it's going to denature. You're not necessarily getting the best absorption. So the NAD Synergizer is a little bit like that. It isn't direct NAD. It is natural ingredients that are shown to promote NAD production in the cell. Okay, so what comes of that? Well, NAD is one of the molecules that's very closely involved in that energy production pathway. Okay, you need NAD to create that ATP. It's just another, you know, part of the chain. So most people, when they take an NAD Synergizer, are going to notice better energy, but it also helps with mood. It helps with, so many different things, neurological function. So I've had some of my patients really kind of like it for helping to boost their energy, but also getting their brain and their sort of nervous system working better. I will say NAD can be stimulating. So I know, I mean, for myself, the full dose is 2 a day. I don't do well with 2 a day. I take 1 a day. So not everybody needs the full dose of 2 a day for that, because it is quite directly stimulating, and that can be too much for some people. But again, just taking 1 a day is going to have great benefit. So with the Nrf2, we're reducing oxidative stress, we're turning on our detox pathways. And for that reason, I wanted to note this too. Some people, when they start Nrf2, feel really yucky for the first little bit, because it is working at the cellular level to enhance detox. Okay, so you may expect some detox reaction. People who are more sensitive should cut that tablet up and just start with even 1/4 per day, or no more than 1/2 per day, and just build up gradually to tolerance. The Nrf1 doesn't typically create that. And then the NAD, like I said, just be mindful, because it can be stimulating for some people. But they're the three, it's the trio that address these 3 causes of cellular aging and cellular degeneration. And so it's super duper simple. They come as a tri-synergizer. You can get them in a little packet, which has each of them, all 3 of them in. You just take 1 packet per day. I'll put a link in the comments if you want to go look and read up on it a little bit more. But they are really incredible for addressing these different elements. The other thing that I will say, and I've looked at the studies on this, is the research shows that each of the 3 elements, when combined, boosts the efficacy of all of them. Okay, so we've seen markers where with just the Nrf2, different variables are adjusted a certain number of percent. Add in the Nrf1, that then is amplified, and add in the NAD, and all three of them together have a synergistic effect and boost the efficacy of the others. So they're sort of designed to go together. The research also shows that they are best taken together, like all at the same time, in the morning with food. And I certainly vouch for that with the NAD, like, because it is sort of energizing. Some people could get sleep disturbance if they took that at night, but they do well taken like with breakfast. And so for me, it's just part of my morning regimen, and I get my little pack, and it's easy, and I do that. And I really feel like, over the last couple of years, it's made a difference to my health. So reach out if you have any questions about this. Like I said, I will pop a link in the comments so you can go read up. And if you wanted to try the Synergizer, there will be a shopping link in there as well. But, more, I just wanted you to understand that while a lot of people have different labels on their disorder or their disease, right? We've got different names for things. We've got different diagnoses. And each does require its own path. Each one, like if you had Lyme disease, you would want to treat with antimicrobials. Whereas if you were mold toxic, you wouldn't necessarily, but you'd want to do more binders and more detox helpers. With autism, I work so much at first on the gut. And I'm going to do a video on that later this week about like, where do you start with, food changes and adjustments for kids on the spectrum? So look, there's lots of different individualities, but these are the common threads. Okay. And if you are geeky like me and like to look at the research, I mean, it's very clear that these elements of mitochondrial dysfunction, oxidative stress, lack of NAD are central elements in many, many, many different health conditions. So this is all happening at the cellular level. It could manifest differently for different people. And I'm not saying it's the only thing going on. We've got to address, the individual factors as well. But these are things that I have found to be really fundamental in a lot of my patients. So I hope that was helpful for you. And like I said, catch my video later in this week. It will be in Dr. Nicola's Wellness Community, my Facebook group. And that will be Friday at 9 o'clock, I think. But I will post about that again just to confirm. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you again very soon.